Science Museum publication I read on becoming director was Triumph and Tragedy, the definitive history of penicillin by our own Robert Budd. And then in 2013, I was sent a copy of Dame Sally Davis's book, The Drugs Don't Work. And I decided to take it as light reading on a train journey from London to Manchester. And by the time I arrived at Manchester Piccadilly, I was feeling most unwell, but also very determined that the Science Museum should play its part in fighting a global threat. As the home of the world's greatest medical collection, with a vast audience in the museum and online, and perhaps most important of all, very high public trust levels, we decided that we could not resist joining the fight. We share our world with bacteria. Trillions of bacteria are living on and in me right now. And although many are harmless, they can also cause infection, misery, and death. Thanks to the use of bacteria-killing antibiotics from the 1940s, millions of lives have been saved. But this is an exhibition about the bacteria that have evolved to fight back against antibiotics. I mean, of course, the superbugs. We want to shine a light on antibiotic resistance at the microscopic, human, and global scale, featuring remarkable scientific discoveries from across the globe and revealing the personal stories of those involved in waging war on superbugs. Real, beautiful, and deadly bacteria, all classified by the World Health Organization as a significant threat to human health, are on display behind me. But you'll be pleased to know that these bacteria were harmed in the process of making this exhibition. This exhibition represents the countless people involved in tackling antibiotic resistance, from a superbug survivor to farmers and designers making hospitals safer. And many of these splendid people are here this morning. Meeting the unprecedented challenge of antibiotic resistance requires global action. Our exhibition follows the researchers crossing continents in search of the new antibiotics, from diving in deep Icelandic fjords to studying Brazilian leafcutter ants and the blood of Komodo dragons. Superbugs also explores how governments attempt to change behaviour to reduce antibiotic use. The prototypes that might win the £8 million Longitude Prize. And you can try to stop the global spread of superbugs yourself in a new interactive game. I had a go and I was an unmitigated disaster, you'll be pleased to know. You can also see penicillin grown just a few weeks ago from one of Alexander Fleming's original 1928 samples, next to our own historic Fleming penicillin mould in Making the Modern World. Penicillin was the first antibiotic to be mass-produced, thanks to Nobel Prize-winning research by Howard Florey, Ernst Chain, and Oxford University, and the efforts of Pfizer and other pharmaceutical companies. By that time, Fleming and others were already predicting the rise of superbugs. Earlier this year, I saw a heartbreaking exhibition at the Museum of the History of Science at Oxford University about the dawn of antibiotics in the 1940s, the great promise of a new wonder drug, and the epic fight to produce it at scale. Who could not be haunted by the case of Constable Albert Alexander? He picked up a deadly infection from a rose thorn in 1941 and might have survived, except that Florey and his team could not produce enough penicillin. Just a little more, and he would have lived. It is a fascinating and urgent story, and I would like to thank Sheldon Paquin and the Superbugs team for their hard work in bringing this exhibition to life. Our funding partners have been with us through every step of this journey. We could not have done this without Pfizer, our major sponsor, and Shianogi, the exhibition's associate sponsor. I would also like to thank UK Research and Innovation and the University of East Anglia for their support. We are delighted to be working with academia, industry and government to raise public awareness of antibiotic resistance and the challenges that lie ahead. Well, that's almost it from me, but soon we will hear from Angela Rippon, who owes her life to antibiotics and championed them with ferocious passion in a major BBC broadcast earlier this year, and also from Lord O'Neill, who authored a very influential report into the challenges that superbugs pose. But first, I'm delighted to introduce Eric Nordkamp, UK Managing Director of Pfizer, to say a few words. Thank you.